And we've got whatever unconsciousness we have. So what are we going to do? Like, you can fight it, you can protest, you can be upset about it. It's not going to change a thing. Not going to change a thing. You are still going to be that person. So it seems to me that being kind to yourself and smiling on yourself and being affectionate towards yourself, isn't that a recipe for a happy life? Hello, friends. John Dalton here, Further Emergence podcast, where we go into love, consciousness, and the mystery. And in this episode, we're going into a quiet mind, your greatest project, and living with great delight. Now, let's have a look at some of the memes from the Further Emergence Instagram feed. The first one is simple but beautiful. It says, "Quiet minds are full of answers." This comes down to discernment, which is something that comes up a lot. I get asked this a lot about how can you tell that you're getting the right message, or that the message you're getting is from, well, it's asked in different ways, but it's the mystery. That's what people are asking, really. Or basically, how do you know the difference between something that's messing with you in the psychic world and something that's coming from a deeper part of you? And when I'm talking about different things, I'm sort of saying, oh, I had this insight. I figured this thing out. And people will say, oh, were you asking a question? Did you go into meditation asking a question? And I don't do that. I never ask a question. I have things going on that I would love the answers for, like everybody, but I never go into meditation asking a question. But then the way I meditate is unusual. I'm discovering, I mean, I learned it from Barry Long, my spiritual teacher, and I mean, I've refined it, or it has refined me, is probably a better way of saying it. But so it's kind of normal for me, but just from teaching it to other people, it's unusual because it's kind of boring. There's nothing to, no nice music, no, guided visualizations, no mantras, no nothing. Because for me, the focus is on the mystery. I am focused on the mystery. Now, what do I mean by the mystery? I mean the bit at the bottom. So you've got thinking, dreaming, the psychic world, and then everything underneath that, the mystery. So it's very like when you go asleep. You're lying there, close your eyes, you're still thinking about the day. Those thoughts become wilder as you enter into the dream world or lair. Then they become even wilder as you go through the psychic world. Maybe you have a nightmare. And then you drop out the bottom into deep dreamless sleep, where, you've got no thoughts, no personality, no body. All the things we are so precious to us, gone, just completely gone. And it doesn't bother us at all. And we stay there for a couple of hours, maybe 3 or 4 hours, and then we come back up through the psychic world, the dream world, and then we're thinking, and then we open our eyes again. When I meditate, I focus on that place that I go to in deep dreamless sleep. And I don't know what to call it, but I just call it the mystery, because it is a mystery to me. So when I'm meditating, that's my focus, is the mystery, nothing else. So it would be, I want to say disrespectful, but that sounds like, the mystery is has an opinion about me kind of thing. It's like, oh, you must be respectful. It isn't like that at all. But that's what arises in me. I want to go into that emptiness because I love it. And in a strange way, I know it loves me. So through repeatedly stopping thinking, because stopping thinking is not a, just set it and forget it kind of a thing. It's something that I have to repeatedly do many times in meditation. I go into this place, the mystery, without any agenda, without any questions, without trying to get anything from it. In the same way as, when I'm with somebody that I love, I'm not trying to get anything from them, or I'm doing my best not to anyway. I just love them. I just love being with them. It's kind of the same with the mystery. I just go into it. But it does communicate to me, even though I'm not looking for it. And how I can tell the difference is I go from not knowing something to knowing something in an instant. And it will be, sometimes there can be a lot in the knowing, meaning it's not just I know one thing. I know one thing and I know a lot of other things surrounding it and how they relate to it. It's a lot. People call it downloads. I don't like that description because it's very close to channeling, which I'm not interested in at all. Channeling is to do with the psychic world, and there are plenty of psychic entities who would love to channel through you, because everything in the psychic world is facing the wrong way. It's obsessed with existence. It's afraid of the mystery. Doesn't want to make the kind of final journey home. So it's just dying to have some kind of little life through you or me. So that idea of downloads and spirit guides and all that kind of thing, that's all in the psychic world, which I'm not interested in. I'm interested in the mystery. I want to go directly to the source. So even the idea of a download, kind of, if you've ever loaded anything into your computer, it takes time. You've got to watch the little status bar, oh God, is this ever going to be there? Whereas when something is communicated to me from the mystery, it's instant. I go from not knowing to knowing, just like that. And I'll know a lot, which is amazing to me, because normally when I'm figuring something out, I'll join dot A to dot B, and then that'll make me leap to dot C. And then I'll, think about that for a while, and then I'll, I'll take C and B, and maybe I'll get to D, and it all takes time, and, I have to live with it for a bit. When something communicates from the mystery, it's like suddenly I have from A to Z, full thing in an instant. Okay? It doesn't happen very rare. It doesn't happen very often, but that's the way it comes. And that's why I like this idea of like a quiet mind has many answers, or whatever it says in this meme. That idea of when you're quiet, you get a lot of answers. So it's hard to do. It's hard to go to the mystery without an agenda, without wanting something, because life is difficult. There's lots of things that we'd love an answer for. We just would love to be shown the way. But through, and I think that's kind of what I meant by respect, through just not doing that, just through focusing on the mystery just because I love it and I trust it. That's the other thing, is like I don't have the big perspective. I have just the little John perspective. And I know the way I would like things to go, both for myself and for the world. But I don't have the big mystery perspective. But I trust that the mystery knows what it's doing, and that it's more than even a trust. I just kind of know it knows what it's doing. I don't know what it's doing, but I know that it does. So my little concerns about the things that I'm concerned about, I kind of know that's what they are. I'm not like trying to grab a little bit of attention just for myself. I'm kind of like, I know everything's being taken care of. These things seem really important to me, but I know that it all fits together. It's all moving in the right way. So I don't want to impose my will on that. I want to just be the best little version of myself as I contribute to it. And I get these great gifts of just every now and then I'll just have a knowing. So, silent mind, if you can. This idea that you can't stop thinking and you should just watch your thoughts, that's fine if that's what you want to do. There's many different types of meditation. My type of meditation, it's not easy. It's not easy at all, you know. And there are meditations where you just breathe, or you say a mantra, or you just watch your thoughts go by. Beautiful. But for me, I'm focused on the mystery. And to get to the mystery, I need to put the brake on my mind. I need to get it to stop, even if for an instant, so that I can get through to the mystery. So I'm doing that repeatedly. So if that, let me just give you a little plug for, I have a meditation training. It's 4 weeks. I talk about it all. It's audio. You go along, do a different thing, different exercises for each week. Very good, very helpful for this kind of meditation. And then I have the Space for the Mystery, where we get to meditate together. And that's every Monday. And that's really good, really helpful for if you're wanting to go into this particular type of meditation. If you want to go into the mystery, if that's your thing, then Space for the Mystery is brilliant. The next one says, you are the greatest project you will ever work on. Restart, reset, refocus as many times as you need. Just don't give up. The thing about the idea of not giving up is it's very hard to give up. Now, bear with me, okay? What I mean by that is you can feel like you give up. You know? You can feel like that's it. It's all this consciousness stuff. My life's gone to pieces since I've been interested in all this consciousness stuff. I'm sick of it. That's it. Forget it. That's part of it. You can say you're giving up, but it keeps going. Consciousness doesn't go backwards. You know, it's like looking for your keys. You're about to leave. Where did I leave my keys? You can't find them. You search everywhere. So you're in a state of not knowing. And that state of not knowing is the same as being unconscious. And then you're looking around the house, you've looked everywhere, and then you suddenly go, oh, what about the biscuit tin? You look in the biscuit tin, and there they are. And then suddenly you're in a state of knowing. You cannot go backwards. You can't unknow where the keys are. And it's the same with consciousness. You can't become unconscious once you become conscious. So even though you spit the dummy and go, that's it, I'm sick of this consciousness stuff, I'm giving up. I'm giving up on my life. I'm giving up trying. I'm giving up on love. I'm giving up on whatever. You can't actually do that. Feels like you can, but you can't really. Because the spiritual life is relentless, in my experience. Consciousness is relentless. It doesn't stop. Often I feel like I'm sort of strapped to the front of a big diesel locomotive. It's just going. And sometimes it's going through walls, and I'm strapped to the front of it. That's what it can feel like. But the thing is, it doesn't stop. I could be on the front of that train going, that's it, I give up. The train still goes through the next wall. It just keeps going because it's driven by the deeper parts of me and you. So there's that, okay? Like you can go, you can say what you like, and it's fine. And it's fine to say. And sometimes it's important to kind of say, forget it. I'm sick of this spiritual stuff. I'm having a rest. And you can have a rest. You can, you know, go and just sit on the couch and watch telly and drink and do all the things, go and do some online shopping, get your favorite cake, all the things that we do. And that's fine. It's kind of, you have to do it. If it comes up, there's nothing wrong with it at all. Because that's the thing, it's like, your life is the big endeavor. It's the big project. It's the big, fantastic work of art. It's the big enterprise. It's the most all-consuming enterprise that you will ever be engaged in. Is the story of your life, the wonder of your life. It's amazing. And in that, you can have a rest. You can go, you know what, I'm exhausted. I need to recoup. I need to sit on the couch for a while. And sometimes you need to sit on the couch for a couple of years. Sometimes you need to sit on the couch for 10 years. That's all fine. It's all part of it. If that's what you need to do, it's not going to pass you by. Your spiritual life is not going to leave you behind. It's not like, oh, where's my consciousness now? Yeah, and you have all the feelings. Like it's like the water coming in and out on the beach. It's like the tide coming in and out on the beach. You can feel very clear. You're standing in clear water, or you're standing in clear. There's no water. I'm very clear. I see everything. It's all making so much sense. And then the tide comes in, you're lost. You're like, oh, I remembered it last week. Now I'm lost. Now I can't remember anything. What was I saying last week? That's all part of it. The main thing is, and your guiding light through it is being kind to yourself and giving yourself the, not a break, but giving yourself the kindness and compassion of, you're a valiant, very brave creature. And you are dealing with your unconsciousness consciously, which is not easy to do. You're getting into the sort of engine room of your life, and you're consciously pulling it apart, upgrading it, doing all that stuff. You're not just sitting in the bus looking out the window. You're driving it, you're fixing the engine, you're making sure it doesn't break down, you're thinking about the route, where it's going, all this stuff. You're doing all that. And it's a lot. So if you get a bit tired, number one, you have to acknowledge that you're getting a bit tired. I need a bit of a rest. I need to just sit down for a little bit. I need a cup of tea. I need to have a nap. And that could be a nap from your spiritual life if you want. You might have all these beautiful rituals that you do. You meditate at the morning and you do yoga. And I've done this. I've had periods in my life when I've been fantastic. I've been the poster child for the spiritual life, meditation, yoga, the way I eat, listening to books or reading books and writing, journaling, and all the beautiful things that we do. And then other times I haven't done any of it. I've just stayed up too late, watching trashy telly, completely sucked in, binge watching things on Netflix or some other streaming service, staying up too late, waking up the next morning late, kind of going, oh God, whatever. So, and back when I was drinking, because, I got enlightened in 96, I didn't stop drinking until 2011. So that's a lot of drinking. I mean, there were periods when I wasn't drinking in that, but so I had periods where I was hungover, where I got too drunk, so it's all fine. It's all part of living life, and getting in there. Because in some ways, living in a cave, it's kind of easy. It's kind of easy to live in a cave or live in a monastery. That's kind of easy as well. What I mean by that is, I haven't done it, but there's a structure to support you. Oh, I'm a monk, or I'm a nun. Oh, okay, I'm a Buddhist nun, or I'm a Hindu nun, or I'm a Catholic nun, or I'm a whatever. There's a structure there. It's like, oh, okay. So at the dinner party of life, you can go, well, this is what I am. And people can go, oh, okay, nice. How is that being a monk? Or how is that being a nun? And, there's structures to support you financially. There's structures, well, this is what we do. This is what time we get up in the morning and we pray or if you're in a cave, it's like, okay, well, people know you're in the cave. I'm assuming there's a certain amount of PR for the people who live in caves, that the people in the village know, oh yeah, there's John, he lives in a cave. So we better bring him some food. I don't know how it works, but I imagine there's some kind of communication has to go there. Or maybe you just go and you are nourished by the mystery. Either way, It's like, okay, I'm in a cave. I don't have any distractions. I don't have to deal with anything. I don't have to deal with the internet. I don't have to deal with a spouse, siblings, parents, neighbors, people in the town. I don't have to deal with any of that stuff. And everybody knows I'm a hermit. I live in the cave. So that's kind of great. That's what I mean, that it's kind of easy. But if you don't do that, if you are a sort of undercover monk or nun, if you're an undercover spiritual person, you don't, you know, in the dinner party of life, what do? And then you just have to say, you know, whatever you do on the surface, you know, you can't, there's nothing to say. You can't say, oh, I'm an undercover monk. That doesn't work. I mean, like, what are you talking about? There's no such thing. It's like, but I'm really spiritual. It's like, yeah, well, what do you do for money? Well, what do you do for a living, you know? It's like, oh, I meditate a lot. So there's no support except your own inner fortitude. And that's not easy. So it's to acknowledge that like the very difficult task you've undertaken. And maybe you didn't consciously undertake it, but now you find yourself doing it. Now you find yourself in it. So you kind of have undertaken it. And to kind of go, to be kind to yourself, like as if you were a little child. You know, if you've ever brought a little child out for the day, you're kind of out of the corner of your eye. You're just keeping an eye on them to see if they get a bit tired. Because you know they're not an adult. And you know that you've been like trooping along, going through the city, having a great time, but you know they've got little legs and they might be tired. You're sort of keeping an eye on them, and if they get a bit tired, you'll kind of, you know, say, "Well, I carry you for a bit," and they'll go, "Yeah," and then you pick them up and you carry them for a bit, and they, you know, maybe they'll fall asleep on you. It's to have that kind of kindness for yourself, to keep your eye out for yourself and go, "How am I doing? How am I doing here?" I mean, I'm doing great on the old spiritual stuff. I'm meditating my face off. I'm in the mystery. It's great. I'm having all these insights. Brilliant. I'm attracting all this great stuff to me, but I'm kind of exhausted as well. And it's to know that you can't quit, and to know that it's fine to rest. In fact, it's important to rest. It's part of the deal. Resting, it's so important, because when you rest, you're resting in the mystery. You mightn't know that, you mightn't be conscious of it, but you're kind of resting in the mystery. And by that I mean you're trusting the mystery inside and the mystery outside, that you'll be sustained. It would be like kind of, and you've probably seen people like this. I've heard people say like, oh, going to sleep, it's the biggest waste of time. You know, I'm not productive. I want to, you know, there's so many things I want to do, you know. It's a bit like that when you won't rest in the mystery. It's like, no, I want to run the whole show myself. So it's very sweet and beautiful to acknowledge the mystery and acknowledge that you'll be supported by it, and to rest if you need to. And to be kind to yourself in that way. And the last one says, the real secret to a fabulous life is to live imperfectly with great delight. Living imperfectly with great delight. That sounds lovely, doesn't it? It's very confronting. It's the imperfectly bit. That's the bit that's challenging. And, you know, second would be great delight. We are not predisposed to be okay with the idea of an imperfect life. If you've ever had a to-do list, you'll know exactly what I'm talking. You know, the first time you hear about a to-do list, you go, oh, this is great. Yeah, I just put everything down on my to-do list and then I tick it off, and that's great. And it works for about a week. This is for me anyway. It works great for a week or a month. And then eventually you start to get lag. You start to get, you know, things that, well, I want to remember to do this thing, and it gets a bit messy. That's like a 3-week thing, and if I want to get that done in the next 3 weeks, and then your to-do list gets a bit messy, and you know, you have 10 things on it, you only got 9 done. That's okay, I'll transfer it over. But you have 10 more things for tomorrow, so now you have 11 things. and you again don't get everything done. So now you've got two things. So you transfer two things to the next day, and then you've got, you know, uh, 10 more things you want to do. So that's 12, and so on. And at some point, the things that you keep pushing forward are very big, and it's demoralizing. You're looking at your to-do list, and it was a great, oh, now I'm going to get organized. Now it's like, look at all the stuff I'm not getting done. That's what my to-do list is all about. And then I can remember vividly. I had set up the Australian Institute of Craniosacral and I had, it was a big deal, to get the craniosacral training accredited with the government, and all sorts of things. I had lots of students, and it was a lot, and it was all pretty much, I was doing it on my own for the most part. And certainly at this point that I'm talking about, I was completely on my own with it. And I remember looking at my to-do list and realizing I'm not going to get it all done, ever. I am never going to get everything done on this list that I want to get done. And feeling quite defeated. Feeling like, oh, I think this is the case for life, actually. I think there are things in my life I'm never going to get done. And it's like, oh, I thought I was like super powerful. I thought I was able to do everything. And it's the realization of like, I'm just not going to get all the things done that I want to get done. And that kind of, you're right up against, or I was right up against anyway, the messiness of life. And the realization of like, oh yeah, I'm never going to get all those ducks in a row. Here I am talking about ducks in a row again. I'm just not going to get them all in a row. And then the difficult bit is to stand back from it enough to go, it's not the ducks' problem here. The ducks are not the problem. The problem is, or the thing that's making me unhappy, is the idea I have about the ducks and the way I think they should be. So for me, it was like, just because I can think of all these things that I want to get done, doesn't mean that they are going to get done or they even should get done. They're just ideas. And I've created this idea of myself as this person that can do all this stuff. That's the thing that's making me miserable. It's not the to-do list. It's the idea that I should be getting those things done. And it's the same with in our perfect life, because we have idealized versions of ourselves and how we should be in our life. And that's not to say you sort of try and beat them out of yourself and go, oh, I don't care. We do care. We do care. And we do have this ideal version of ourselves that always says the right thing, that always behaves authentically, that's always loving and kind and noble. And, the reality is we've got unconsciousness. And that's the bit we don't like. That's the bit no, I don't have unconsciousness. I'm perfect. And we are perfect, surrounded by a bit of unconsciousness. Because it's kind of what we're doing here, isn't it? We are becoming more conscious. Unconsciousness is like the raw material of existence, and we spend our lives refining it into consciousness. That's what it looks like to me, anyway. So if we have this idea of this wonderful version of ourselves that never puts a foot wrong, and we believe that that's the way we should be, then we're going to be kind of miserable. Because it never happens like that. So this idea of living an imperfect life, not just living it like, oh, just have to accept that life is imperfect. It's like, no, live it with great delight, to enjoy it. Like one of the things I don't understand about myself is I have worked with people for over 30 years. And one of the things I deal with a lot is trauma. Now, trauma on all levels, right? Physical trauma, emotional trauma, even spiritual trauma, but just particularly physical trauma. So I, more than most people, know the, devastating effects that accidents can have in people's bodies, okay? It's not an abstract thing for me. And to help things release, to help trauma patterns release from people's systems, it's not easy, okay? So that's just a bit of context. The bit I don't understand is, I find those fail videos, I think that's what they're called. The sort of videos that people make where they fall off a ladder, like small ladder, or they trip over, or if I watch enough of those, I start crying with laughter, okay? Which doesn't make any sense. I should be like, oh my God, oh no, I can't watch this because I know how difficult it's going to be for that person to release that trauma. That's not the effect. I am crying with laughter, okay? It's been like that for years and I still don't understand why. But I think what's going on is I just love it's just something so endearing about us. We are so goofy. And we do the most ridiculous things, and like me included, okay? And those kind of tripping over kind of things, it just pierces that idea of like, where this idea of the perfect version of us, You can be sure the person who tripped over was kind of didn't want to see themselves doing that, but that's what happened, and that's what happens with us all. And it's like just a little nudge from life going, oh, stop taking yourself so seriously. God, just calm down with the seriousness and just like, it's all a bit silly. And we're a bit silly. I think that's why they make me laugh so much. It's like a little reminder of that. So that kind of speaks to this idea of delight. This delight, living an imperfect life with great delight. It's not to just suffer through the fact that we have an imperfect life or that we have unconsciousness. It's not to just kind of, oh God, I've got unconsciousness, I'm just going to have to do the best I can with it. It's to enjoy it. It's to look on ourselves with affection, Look on ourselves with affection and look on our unconsciousness with affection and kind of accept that's part of the deal. It's part of the deal here that we are, we've got unconsciousness. We're going to say stupid things. We're going to say things that we regret. We're going to get together with people that we know we shouldn't get together with. We're going to do all sorts of stupid things. We're going to drink too much, eat too much, crazy things. And not just like silly little things. We're going to do like big things. And maybe we're going to do something catastrophic, And it's like, so what? It's like we are funny little creatures. We're very sweet and we do ridiculous things, often fueled by our unconsciousness. And to look kindly on ourselves, because the difficult thing and where it gets really bitey and hurts is when we can't forgive ourselves and we can't look kindly on our unconsciousness and we have these deep regrets of we should have done things differently. We should have been a different person, which is crazy because we cannot be a different person. We can only be who we are. And I'm not saying that like, oh, that's an ideal, aspire to just accepting that we're just the way we are. It is a thing, isn't it? We can't be what we're not. And we've got whatever unconsciousness we have. So what are we going to do? Like, you can fight it, you can protest, you can be upset about it. It's not going to change a thing. Not going to change a thing. You are still going to be that person. So it seems to me that being kind to yourself And smiling on yourself and being affectionate towards yourself is, isn't that a recipe for a happy life? A happy way of being, where you can be kind and look on yourself affectionately. All right, well, that's all I have for you this time. I trust you're well. I trust you're of good cheer. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.